For showing your ardor, a poem's just right. So now for a starter, an expert... I can't think of a good last line.
Will Wright.
An expert will write. That's why she's the poet, and I am merely the guy sitting here doing a poet will write. We're joined by Jennifer Arin. She's a lecturer at San Francisco State in English. Also the former poet laureate for Henry's Garden, back when we had a poet laureate and back when there was a Henry's Garden. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
the point
Henry.
is that writing a love poem really is a great Valentine's Day gift, and it doesn't need to be. You really can do it.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And for anybody who feels lost or where do I begin, any poet at any level is thinking of these two things. What do I have to say? What am I going to say? And how am I going to say it? And sometimes, strange as it may sound for emerging poets, sometimes rhyme is a very good way in because it gives direction, it gives a sense of where to go, and it also brings sound play into the poem, and sound is such a staple of poetry, that heightened attention to it.
Right. So put in a little, and it's true, when I sometimes mess around, well, I don't write poetry, but rhyming really does help you, sort of bring you along, and it gives you some good ideas.
It does.
So can you give us an example of a poem that uses rhyme nicely?
Why, yes, I can.
Funny, I should ask.
You should. This is a poem, a widely anthologized poem by a woman named Anne Bradstreet. She was the first woman in the American colonies to have her work published, and she was a Puritan woman, but there's not exactly...
This is a charmer. She doesn't sound like a Puritan to me.
No fleshly denial in this piece anyway. So this is titled appropriately to my dear and loving husband. You'll hear too in the poem another staple of poetry, which is this centuries-old tradition of comparing one's love to something else to show that the depth of one's emotion. So Bradstreet begins here. She says, "If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can." A little boastful. "I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the East doth hold." So comparing that to mines of gold, to the riches, right, of the East.
And comparison, you were saying, is if you're trying to think of, well, what the heck am I going to say? Just do some comparison.
Exactly.
For example.
It's a good anchor for the poem, exactly.
So give us another example there of someone who uses comparison brilliantly and rhythmically. Wonderful poem.
I can give you two great ones, if time permitting, if not just one.
Well, go ahead. But, give us the one first.
Well, in honor of Black History Month, I can tell you that Langston Hughes often used comparison, as so many poets do, to describe one's beloved. And Hughes writes here in a poem called Harlem Sweeties, "Brown sugar lassie, caramel treat, honey gold baby, sweet enough to eat, peach skin girly, coffee and cream, chocolate darling, out of a dream." We have always been food obsessed.
That is great. We have just enough time for you to read your love poem that you were going to use to inspire folks. Okay.
If any of this feels too daunting, then a simple shared moment is wonderful. Just a symbol of unity, togetherness. So, Alice's. "I often think about your amber eyes, sculpted torso, swift hips.
Whoa.
But more than that, I think about your feet and my feet, steering our red rented paddle boat into the fountain that got us so wet even the LA heat didn't dry us off, and we had to eat dinner at Alice's standing up."
So roses are red, violets are blue. Producers saying goodbye. Toodaloo. Sorry. Thank you, Jennifer, for a great lesson. A little inspiration.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. Cron 4 News Weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day.